All right, I'm on my way home after a fantastic trip to Orange County, California to help launch a recovery community organization in the OC. That's what we call it, the OC, baby. It's gnarly out there in the OC. All right, so and that was wonderful. That was a great experience. I met great people. We made a lot of progress. The flight back, or maybe I should say the flights back, and the canceled flight, and the snow apocalypse in the Midwest, well, that sucked. Sleeping in the Detroit airport sucked. You like how I call it the Detroit airport rather than Detroit? Sleeping in the Detroit airport sucked. But everything else was good to go. On this trip, I watched an interesting movie called The Big Short. The Big Short is about the 2008 financial crisis and how everyone was irrationally exuberant about the economy and how every practice in the economy was built on lies, sometimes blatant corruption, most of the time stupidity, much of the time just traditional practices. It's just sort of how we do things. We just do what we got to do. And it really reminded me of the current state of affairs with the addiction treatment industry, or the addiction healthcare response, or whatever word you want to use, or our public health response to the crisis. We have all these practices and we have all these systems in place. And the people that are supposed to be looking over people's shoulders are actually in bed with people. Let's take, for example, accrediting agencies. Think about like CARF and JACO, who are supposed to be looking over people's shoulders. They're supposed to like kind of monitor the treatment centers, make sure they're doing the right thing. But understand, they get paid by the treatment centers. They want the treatment center to be accredited. They want the treatment center to get reaccredited. I got to tell you something. I know places that have been accredited by CARF that I wouldn't send my dog to. Not that that's some kind of litmus test. Where would I send my dog? Because I love my dog. But I mean, I wouldn't send my worst enemy to some of these places. CARF and JACO want to approve places. It works for their bottom line. How about insurance companies? The next person looking over the shoulder would be insurance companies. Look, here's the deal with insurance companies. First of all, for a lot of them, substance use disorders constitute such a small part of the overall cost, they don't really pay attention to it. That's one end of the spectrum. Like, screw that, whatever. There's some dude down in the basement who's supposed to be monitoring substance use disorder spending. They just pay whatever. They'll throw it against the wall, cut you a check, $1,000 urine screens, this and that. You know, that's an area. And then the other end of the spectrum is like here in South Carolina Blue Cross Blue Shield. We won't pay for anything. You see how it's all interlocked. And here's what that system works very well for those folks. That system works very well for the providers that are existing within that system. And we can all look to circumstances where certain people did okay. Just like in the financial crisis, we can look to circumstances and say, whoa, look how wonderful it is. People own homes that never owned homes before. We point to these situations and we're not allowed to criticize anything because, hey, I know a guy who went through that treatment center and he did greater. Treatment saved my life. Oh, here's another reason why we can't criticize anything or call anything out. Have you ever heard this? You got to focus on unity and you got to focus on the solution, not the problem. Those are just two ways of trying to tell me to shut up. I don't, let me give you another example. I don't know what exactly is going on with something, all this stuff around advocates taking money from pharmaceutical companies, that kind of deal. I don't know. I really don't know the details of that yet. Here's what I know for sure, though. It's okay to talk about it. And the fact that it's being spun like as if it's not okay to talk about it, and people are like, just let it go. Just let it go, man. So-and-so's a wonderful person. Just let it go. I don't even know so-and-so. Could be a wonderful person. But don't tell me I'm not allowed to talk about it. Because if you tell me I'm not allowed to talk about it, I will talk more about it. I will talk louder about it. I will talk really, really aggressively about it. Not that I have the greatest platform, but I have a little platform. I don't know, mate. I could probably rattle some cages. Anyway, all that said, You know, you got the financial crisis going on. You got all this stuff creeping up, and people were trying to blow the whistle on it. And basically the whole entire system said, no, we're okay, stand back. And then boom, it all fell apart. I am firmly convinced that that is exactly what is going on in the treatment industry, our healthcare response to this issue, now perhaps even our advocacy response to this issue. It's all becoming woven into, you know, money, how do we pay for things, funding, I get it. My organization, there's no funding available. We have to get it all through private philanthropy. We do really well. We work really hard. Shoot, I'm working today after coming back. That's how we get it done here. I work 85 hours a week. I probably got a problem with that. All right, I've noticed that I'm rambling a bit. And I'm going to stop, because when I start rambling, I don't want to go on and on, but I want you to get in touch with something. What you see is not always what you get. We have an intricate, complex system that feeds off itself. So we're going to need to develop a simple yet profound solution over here. And I'm of the opinion that that is recovery community organizations, independently funded, not in anybody's back pocket. Not the government, not a treatment center, not the pharmaceutical company, I don't know, not politicians. You can fill in the blank. Nobody's pocket. And then we're going to build up a whole new business model, which will be proven to be so successful that eventually all these players over here will want to get on board. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to start today. Actually, I've already started. Have a wonderful day.